Olá, canota, tudo bem? Vou só fazer a recovery, uma hora muito levezinha de zona 1. Não tive a oportunidade noutra hora e vou só fazer mesmo zona 1 enquanto assisto à repetição do MyWhoosh, do UCI eSports Cycling World Championship. E vou aproveitar para fazer uma live um bocadinho diferente, vou fazer um react àquilo que foi a prova de há pouco, onde estiveram os 20 melhores do mundo. Agora
to make you happy, or keep you company. They call me lucky. Well, it's my thing.
55 minutos de recovery.
You know it's not my responsibility to make you happy, or keep you company. They call me lucky. Well, it's my dignity. So it's my duty. to make you happy, or keep you company. They call me lucky. Well, it's my dignity. Starting my journey. Responsibility. You know it's not my responsibility to make you happy, or keep you company. They call me lucky. Well, it's my dignity. Starting my journey. Responsibility.
He is the rider who has won this title on 2 different occasions. Can he now win a hat-trick of victories? A little bit like Peter Sagan, who was our guest just a few moments ago. It's a pretty special moment now for Osborne as he encounters the rest of the riders that he now faces. Let's go to our commentary team, to Matt Payne and Emma Martin, as we start the Men's World Championship.
Cycling World Championship, a grande final mundial do campeonato de eSports Cycling. A partir da Arena 42 em Abu Dhabi, onde vão estar os 20 melhores homens, neste caso, vamos assistir à corrida masculina. E a corrida acabou de começar. A competição vai ser composta por 3 corridas. A primeira vai ser uma corrida praticamente contra o relógio, porque vai ser contra uma linha que os vai eliminando os últimos, e arranca 2 minutos depois de toda a gente ter arrancado.
I think for me there's 2 things really that came out of that conversations earlier on that we just heard with the team at the analyst desk there, and one is Jason Osborne. Can he make it? Everyone's like, can he make it? Can he make it to the top? For me, it's about those points. I mean, Jason Osborne,
Na imagem está o Aidan Fucker,
untouchable because
norte-americano, com uma potência absurda.
have a reasonable day behind behind everybody else on stages 2 and 3 if he has a good enough stage 1.
Well, I think Hayley was talking with Lucia about the withdrawal due to illness of Michael Vinck, and he possibly being the rider that could challenge Jason Osborne. I think psychologically there's two things there. Either there's the, oh my goodness, we can't catch Jason Osborne, what we're going to do. But there's also the, right, okay, let's bring it on. And you've got 20 other riders on that stage who are absolutely going to bring on their A game today, and they are going to battle it out.
And they're battling it out now for what is potentially going to be a silver medal as we see a kick-off down the road. Now, this is a tactic that has been employed by the man known as Brian Watts himself. Phenomenal power, one of our biggest riders in the race, but he's known for going on the offensive. He's going to take the racing to everybody else. He's already doing this. Hayden Pucker from the United States of America.
Yeah, Hayden Pucker, what a star. Came into the World Championships in 2024 as an under-23, still an under-23 rider, took 5th place last year, and he's got better and better and better. He also took the National Championships this year from the United States. Very proud wearer of that jersey. Well, the chase line is activated now in the race. Skirsky, Osborne, Pucker, Kaminski, 𝗭𝗨𝗠𝗨𝗕, Dodge. There are so many names in this race who could be in the mix.
Eu não entendi aquele esforço absurdo do Hayden Pucker.
Never. Let's see if we can get a moment of that face before we get to the end of the show in terms of medals. We will have to see now. Some of our riders have regularly proved themselves in racing on the Sunday Race Club each and every Sunday on MyWhoosh. Some of them, though, probably find that this format that we have for the World Championships really suits their riding style and how they want to go out and race. We saw already Hayden Pucker on the offensive doing that. We're going to see riders potentially who are going to maybe just look for this points race to really suit them, and they're going to be buoyed by that.
They are.
And a bit like the...
Vamos pôr aqui a repetição.
It to the top of two different things. One strategic and tactical. One is going strong at the moment.
On race.
The arm and elbow. I believe there was a little off in a ride earlier on in the week, but 𝗂𝗏𝗂𝗧𝗢, what a silver medal. What a battle last year he took to do that, and he's been coming into some superb form. One of the wild cards for this, because he didn't race the semi-finals. Leonard Tjugels right at the front, another rider from Belgium on your screen at the moment, alongside Osborne and Kaminski. Tjugels, for me, has been riding really, really strongly. This is a great course for him, stage 1. Another rider who is going strong at the moment, Paweł Skirsky, another under-23 rider from Poland this time. He should be, I think, potentially the rider closest to Osborne on stage 1, though that will not potentially be the case as we go through the latter stages, because there's a number of riders who presume stage 2 and stage 3 are going to be, well, just amazing points hauls.
They are, and
Lionel
I think that's where
que está na imagem
this battle
caiu no início desta semana num treino na estrada com os companheiros dele. Acho que foram atropelados. E ele está ali cheio de ligaduras.
Because the riders going through, when it's clear between the riders, doing the maths on the bike and on the move is going to be really key. And we've got some very, very smart riders here. We've got some very, very intuitive riders as well who just seem to read a race and read a ride. They're taking in all the data, all the power, they're watching the race, and they do it without even thinking. However, when you've got so many riders potentially coming into contention in the later stages, particularly for the silver and the bronze medal, behind potentially Jason Osborne doing a repeat win, I think it really does make it that bit harder.
Yeah, though for me, this year I've really been paying close attention on the build-up to the finals, and one of the things this year I think is slightly different. Last year we saw a lot of the riders targeting the semi-finals, wanting to ensure the qualification process, and perhaps the peak was too early. This time round, I think as we've seen in the women's race, and I think we're going to see in the men's race, riders have learned from that, and the peak this year is definitely for the World Championship final. The qualification race back in October, now we're in November, and there's been a solid block of training in between. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, Osborne, Van Els, 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, everybody is still in this group, and it is a group after 5.5 minutes of racing.
And in terms of previous performances. The semi-finals had a lot more riders in there. The points were allocated out in the same way, so there was less, the odds were less of actually taking those points. However, this is not about qualification, this is not about getting through in the top 20, this is about going through and absolutely nailing this and taking away a medal.
Duas vezes campeão mundial e hoje sagrar-se-á campeão mundial pela terceira vez. Jason Osborne, já estou a dar spoiler para quem não assistiu.
Absolutely flying, he had the third best points haul on stage 1 and he's also a rider who's got a great sprint as well with plenty of power and really another of those riders who's super focused on this championship.
Well, and I also think he's one of the riders, and there are a number of them on your screen at the moment, who really want this. There's a lot of riders out there for whom this is absolutely the showcase of where they want to show what they can do, and he is one of those. Stefan van Elst and the rest of the Belgium team. Matthias Van He on the top of your screen. Honestly, I could not speak to anybody who was more excited to be on that stage. He was absolutely phenomenal on stage 3 of the semi-finals. He earned his spot literally in the last 2 sprints. What a story, and it's been a brilliant opportunity for him, a superb on stage in the mix, and I know he'll give it everything.
And Leonard Jugels at the moment of the Belgian squad on the move, on the front, forcing the move from Kaminski here to chase. Osborne marking the moves, marking that attack, marking that push from Jugels on the front. You just see Jugels lifting it to 7.1, 7.2 watts per kilo, putting down going onto the front and really starting to make it hard. He's not breaking up that group. And at the moment, the Belgian squad on the front with Jugels, and the answer's coming from Kaminski. We've seen the Polish riders of Kaminski and Skiski looking at this and thinking, right, well, we're going to look and mark this out as well. Osborne at the moment, he can just sit on those wheels, he knows that he's got power, and he's just thinking now, where do I wait, when do I go?
Eu corri contra o Josh Harris há 3 anos na Swift Racing League e ele tem tido uma evolução brutal. Ele trabalha imenso. Se calhar é de todos os presentes aquele que é menos dotado, mas que tem feito um trabalho
absolutely yes, but is there a weak rider?
Rigoroso,
no,
definitely
not. Now in the semi-finals on stage 1, 17 minutes to 21 minutes are the times we saw in the men's race. Jason Osborne was out on course for 21 minutes in the semi-finals. 24 minutes is the maximum time available. There's been a lot of questions about whether he will or can. I think those are 2 very different questions. Can he make it to the top versus will he make it to the top? Of 2 different things. One's strategic and tactical, one's physiological.
The can and will may be the same thing, though, to be fair. I think if you were Jason Osborne and you could put that big points all in, surely you're going to take it. It just depends on how deep he's going to go. He's got so much experience, as we saw earlier on. You know, very first world champion. Hayden Pucker, the experience that he had at the first championship for him, which was last year, an in-person championship. He really has upped his game. He knows he's got to be in contention, particularly when we see breaks like this. We're seeing the gaps opening. We're starting to see riders being split from that leading in the group, from the very front of the group. And at the moment, there's a number of riders starting to get into trouble. Van He, Power, Gednes, Thrall, Panitza at the moment. Paradian's in trouble at the back here. And that gap is starting to open up. There's about 15 riders in contention. The back of that group, that's Stefan van Elst, the Belgian riders. We see Neil Fryatt now widening it up on the front again.
Can I just tell you, do not discount Neil Fryatt, because he's got a phenomenal sprint on him, and that's how I would run Neil Fryatt as a sprinter. What he is doing right now, being in the mix on the front of this pack, absolute credit to him, because he is setting himself up for a fantastic World Championships.
So there's this group of 15 riders starts. Paul Clear, Mikkel Kaminski, Palskiski in the mix. In that group, the 2 Polish riders on your screen. You can see that effort going in at the moment. Still both looking very, very controlled as the move goes. The attack is on at the front of the race to come across here.
Well, Kaminski is one of the riders I've got my eyes on over the next 3 stages, because he's been getting better and better. His climbing and his sprinting.
É muita potência, mas é bom no sprint e as corridas eram em subida.
You can see riders going down the front.
Resistiu
I
e no fim da
US jersey,
subida
but I've also seen
conseguiu ir para a
Jason
frente.
Osborne. It's the German rider now starting to open it up. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is the rider responding from the USA.
Tem coração
Into the
enorme,
move. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 took
aquele
the
homem.
win on the first
Uma
stage
capacidade
in
de
the World
sofrimento
Championships
brutal.
in 2024. Is he aiming to do it again?
He might aim, but he's not going to
Está
make
ele,
Europe
Neil
against
Fry.
Jason Osborne, who now is kicking at 7 watts per kilo. He went clear at nearly 9 watts per kilo. He came across the Fry and he went past. We were saying earlier on in the show, the comment was made very early on in the run into the men's race that some riders are championship riders. Neil Fry, you give him the big stage, you give him the championship. Neil Fry really delivers time and time again. It's almost like an on-off switch. Is it a big stage?
Para quem vai em pé,
Okay,
não
I'll
é
come out and play my A game. Is it not a major
muito baixa, mas também
I suppose I can turn him. It
uma
really
cadência
just
normal.
seems to pull it out
Não é
and
muito
be
elevada também.
so switched on. As Osborne now starting to accelerate 10 seconds, the gap pretty much to Fryer at the moment. From Fryer to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, a further 4 seconds behind. You can see the gap behind Neil Fryer's avatar to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, who's leading the chase. And it's this response now for me that's going to be very telling. Osborne in 1, Fryer in 2, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, Kaminski, Jones is in the mix, Pedersen's in here, former world champion Andreasen in the mix, and he took his win with a lone breakaway. Very difficult to do on this format now, but he's coming on to form as well.
He is, and for me, stage 2 and stage 3, I think you need to keep your eyes peeled for Andreasen. I need to keep your eyes peeled for Ollie Jones in stage 2 and stage 3, and I think everyone's going to be worried about Jones because he's been turning in sprints at over 17 watts per kilo recently.
Yep, turned into almost a super sprinter in the stage racing that took place on MyWhoosh in the summer. 7 stages across 8 days. A great competition available to watch on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel as we start to see the drone coming into sight behind the lost rider on the road. The Belgian rider at the moment in 21st place. He knows the drone's coming. It's less than 100 metres behind him. It's going to try and sweep him up. He's going to want to maximise his points. Vanhee very good when it comes to punchy race routes. The heart rate right up at 197 beats per minute, and it still climbs. We will see if it stays up there at the moment over 400 watts. He knows that drone is coming. The points total is being amassed at 154 points at the moment. So this is going to be a good points score. As he gets caught, the drone is on its way. How long can he hold on here? It's on his wheels. It hits. He's eliminated.
Well, I expect to see more of Vanhee later because he is a super sprinter. First rider eliminated here on the men's championship stage 1.
So Vanhee eliminated, and in fact I think we're going to see our next riders in danger of being caught here because Vanhee eliminated with 158 points. Havenkednes going with 160 points behind the leaders at the moment. Jasper Paradis 164.3. Now 4 riders gone. Panizza's just been caught as well. And once it starts catching, it catches quick. And we saw that in the semi-finals. There was 1 or 2 riders being caught up until the sort of 15-minute mark, and then it was just one after the other, after the other, after the other.
And I think that what shows is just the depth of the race field and how so well matched they are, because they are still really closely bunched together. We've got Osborne off the front at the moment. We've got Pavel 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 in 2, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 in 3. Yasin doing a phenomenal job at the moment in 4. Kaminski is there as well. Hayden Pucker is Josh Harris at the moment. Ruben Donk has performance just ahead of them. Pucker, you can see the work on his face at the moment. He's just pushed above Harris on the road, but that line is coming, and it is coming so quickly.
So it's elimination time for 2 or more riders. We've seen Vanhee go, Gednes, Paradis, Thrall, Panizza, Power, all being caught by the chase line. And it looks to me like our next riders, Joshua Harris and Hayden Pucker, have been taken out at points 176 for Harris, 177 for Pucker. As the next group gets caught, we've hit that magic 15-minute mark. I did say it was going to come thick and fast, and it's another 4 riders that have been eliminated. eliminated here, and that is going to be Casper Bowman's, the bronze medalist from last year, with Ruben Daniel Čiuric and Stefan van Elst.
Well, 9 riders still out on the course. Osborne, Skirsky, Čiuric, Kaminsky, Yasin, Jones, Pedersen and Freyert. Neil Freyert on your screen at the moment, alongside Niall Pedersen, the two riders who could be the next to go. Well, it's Pedersen of Norway who is going to be taken out and eliminated by the chase line. Freyert, I tell you something, Freyert is doing a sterling job of hanging on. He is absolutely chasing rainbows today.
He certainly is. He's on his way up here. He's holding that pace line up. He's overtaking rider after rider. This is almost a sprint finish. And look at this, Freyert. He's propelled himself up into what is going to be 6th place here on the stage. Phenomenal ride by Neil Freyert, the man who astounded us on stage 1 in 2024. Has done the same once again on stage 1 here. Another phenomenal performance up at the front. Jason Osborne at the moment is clear of Pavel Skirsky, Leonard Čugels and Mikkel Kaminsky, but it shows you just how close this racing is at the moment. We are down to 3 riders, Osborne, Skirsky and Čugels. Skirsky and Čugels are separated by about 3 seconds on the course at the moment. Osborne has got the gap, but is he going to go? Is he going to say, enough, let's call it a day, I've got more points than everybody else, and save his energy? We're down to 2. Skirsky now with Osborne, the 2 riders left, everybody else eliminated.
Yeah, so Pavel Skirsky, the rider next with the chase line behind. Well, they are both up and out of the saddle. They are battling to stay ahead of the chase line at the moment. And Pavel Skirsky, absolutely everything being given by the young rider from Poland at the moment. He's chasing Jason Osborne. He's being chased by the chase line. That drone, the red line behind him. He's holding it. He's holding it. Whoa! Skirsky gets eliminated. There's just Jason Osborne out on course.
So 1 rider left. His stated aim at before this was to get to the top 24 minutes. So there is no way he's going to do this. Really interesting. We know that he's capable on this course of getting 252 points. He proved that in the semi-finals. He's a long way from that at the moment. You see the points totals are starting to formulate. At the moment, Jason Osborne's points are only just over that 200-point marker. He's got up 211 points. He's a long way off that 252. But he's set in those semi-finals. Is this a more conservative, a more managed approach here from Osborne, who's not gone as hard, or is this not the same form that he had in the semi-finals? This is a phenomenal performance. He's still the best of the riders in our final here today.
E é uma pena porque o e-cycling está a crescer.
He's continuing to dance on those pedals because Jason Osborne is continuing to stay ahead of that chase line. He's come in as the defending champion from 2024 and he is in stage 1, just showing us the dominance that he's had this year and that he wants to take away that jersey for 2025. 20 riders who are going to battle him for it, but Jason Osborne sets the fastest.
Volta a fazer primeiro na primeira corrida. Vamos saltar de imediato para a segunda, enquanto eles falam.
Stayed away from that chase line for as long as possible.
Nós vamos saltar de imediato para a segunda corrida para não perder tempo.
With a gap in the middle, so actually your energy requirements are very important.
Well, and I think you're right, Matt. I think there are riders who will be targeting that first sprint. 7 men from Belgium.
We're getting ready then for
points scored than we saw in the semi-finals. Is this an indication for me? It's about maybe a more conservative approach. We touched on that in the stage 1, but are we going to see riders with more in the tank?
A segunda corrida vai ser no percurso de Punchers Playground.
Mentioned in the stage 1, the depth of the competition here in this men's race. They are so
E vai ser uma corrida por pontos.
That saving something in stage 2 and stage 3. I think anybody who watched or heard when the women's race took place. Strong racers who were in the top 5 or 6 going into stage 3 faded on lap 3 and it had a really big impact on the race, and I don't think any of these men want that. They want to be right through the wire because they know all those points count. 15 points Jason Osborne goes clear from stage 1, but only 16 points separate second from 9th place, with 1 point separating lots of riders. We're going to see a big shake-up in stage 2.
So it's time to head into
Agora vamos lá ver se isto começa. Aí está, começou.
2025 UCI Cycling eSports World Championships here in Abu Dhabi. The riders in person as their avatars race on MyWhoosh, racing the way around this custom-made world.
Este é o percurso ideal para o campeão mundial, o 𝗭𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗧𝗢𝗏.
Well, 𝗗𝗧𝗦𝗡𝗧𝗣𝗢𝗏
Ele consegue
at the front at
normalmente na Sunday Race Club. Ele, o Wally Jones, Michael Vink, que não vi aqui o Michael Vink, não sei o que é que se passou, mas costumam conseguir fugir aos restantes da categoria 1 e estes percursos são subidas para os punchers, para os corredores com bastante kick.
Pretty regular intervals realistically through this,
Costumam
but the
aguentar
terrain is very
várias
much
repetições de alta
different. This
intensidade.
first checkpoint is a good chance for some riders maybe to score who figure they're not going to make it over that climb with the leaders.
Yeah, and I think at that 2.6 kilometre marker, it is sprint number 1. And I think you're right, Matt. I think there are riders who will be targeting that first sprint checkpoint because it is a free climb. The second checkpoint is indeed the rolling 7 hills climb.
E de preparação das pernas para amanhã.
Then climb 2, which is the big climb at the end of the course before the finish. All of those 5-point scoring opportunities are at 40
fazer nada muito intenso,
so there's a lot
iria
of points available.
afetar a minha recuperação para amanhã e o meu sono para logo à noite.
On stage
A clean sweep. Indeed, well, it would be an incredible ride, but it's not beyond some of our riders if they were feeling aggressive. But what would be the price that they would pay on that third stage? Could they get enough of a gap? The gaps are certainly less than we saw in the women's race, and totally agree with the team that this really is, it's a lot closer racing between the riders. There's a lot smaller gaps. It's going to be maybe a little more tactical, but that just means each and every checkpoint counts more, and that's an added pressure to the riders.
And it's the first time in cycling esports, well, the second time really, these riders can take a look at each other across the stage and get a view of their race field. But at the moment, we got a big push going on the front at the moment at the 1.6 kilometre mark. It's 𝗵𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗧𝗏, rider from the Czech Republic. He's going long his 900 metres to that first checkpoint, but it's first across the line. And first across the line is where 𝗵𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗧𝗏 wants to go.
Estratégia para este percurso.
So 𝗵𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗧𝗏 looking
Atacou
to
sem ser a
score points,
sprintar,
13th position,
mas lançou
coming in
poderoso.
to stage 2. His points total 180 points.
Inicialmente a 600, 700 watts por quilo, depois baixou.
Ruben Dont 10th to what is 13th place, but 𝗵𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗧𝗏 at the moment
Vai conseguir os primeiros 20 pontos no primeiro sprint intermédio, sem necessidade de sprintar.
From Italy now goes at 10 watts per kilo to try and close down the gap, but the gap is 6 seconds, and 𝗵𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗧𝗏's coming into the 300-metre to-go line now. It will be a frantic battle behind for the lesser points, but 𝗵𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗧𝗏, if he continues to drive, is going to take 40 points, but can the pack come? 𝗵𝗧𝗏 is leading it, Fright is there, so is Andreas and Paradines is coming through. Bormans, Pedersen, Skirsky, I said watch out for Matthias Vandy on the sprints because he knows how to ride a pack, he knows how to get his timing right, but timing right on the first sprint day. 𝗵𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗧𝗏 comes through and picks up 40 points.
40 points for 𝗵𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗧𝗏. It's going to be 38 for Benitez. A good time to break away, just moving its way in and across. And you can see what that's done to the point scores overall. 𝗵𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗧𝗏 adding his points, and those points updating live as you saw that on your screen. So it's Osborne, Skirsky, Ķuģelis, Fryer and Kaminski, the top 5 as the riders have all gone through. Benitez adding to his points total 203. Good move by him, but now just a little bit out of the back of the group. He's actually off camera shot at the moment, chasing to get back in, whereas Ķuģelis has made the group, and that is the danger. That means extra work to be done for Ricardo Benitez to get back into the group.
A fraction of inattention going through a section, thinking someone's going to close down a gap. What you've got to remember is that rider closing down the gap from behind has the momentum in their favour, and you actually have to pick up the pace and dig in to get into the draft. It's not automatic that they sweep you up. You really have to watch it. But we do have riders closing down. In fact, Thomas Thrall, the rider from Canada, is going to get back into the pack. Osborne, Paradines, Bormans, Dont, Harris on the front of the group at the moment.
So Harris just leading them up over the top of the climb there, making his way through at the front. He led them up just over 5 watts per kilo, so still within the comfort zone of pretty much all of these riders as they go over the top. Ruben Dont, though, part of that Belgian squad, leading them down, taking that momentum, but very quickly it changes Fryatt and Jones up near the front, though. But there is an ever-present Belgian jersey within the front of this, a bit like cyclocross. There's just blue with the black and gold and red bands across it all over this race field, and they really are making sure they've got somebody right at the front at all times as this group continues to push on. The gaps have opened up behind. There are 20 riders in this leading group, and 𝗗𝗗𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗍, who we saw take second on that sprint, has been distanced. He's in 21st place, and he's watching this bunch that we can see on our screens at the moment, right off into the distance. 𝗗𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗍's second stage at the moment looks like that is game over, and he's been distanced after that early effort. The world champion from last year, looking good, doesn't he?
Well, strategy and tactics. I'm just going back to 𝗗𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗍 because he's picked up really good points on the first checkpoint. There are 8 opportunities to score points on stage 3, and 𝗗𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗍 may well have his eyes on those. Jason Osborne at the moment has got his eyes firmly glued to the screen because those blue jerseys are absolutely everywhere. Van He is in the mix, Paradis is in the mix, Osborne is paying close attention. Pucker and Fryatt, the 2 riders from the USA, are both in the group. In fact, Neil Fryatt doing a sterling job here at the UCI Cycling eSports World Championships of 2025. Mikhail Kaminski and Paweł Skierski, the 2 riders from Poland, also in the leading group.
So we've still got about 2k to go to the checkpoint, the climb checkpoint. It's this roller coaster section, the rise and fall, getting the momentum right, absolutely key. Kasper Bormann's right up at the front, the Finnish rider, the medalist from last year, looking at the moment like he's always making sure he's in the right place. Young rider, first cycling eSports race goes to the World Championships in 2024, gets signed up by the development squad because of his performances on the road in the classics as a junior, and he took his medal. He was still at school.
Well, he is the youngest rider in the field for the World Championships across the men's and the women's race, and well, what a young rider to back.
What a rider to have on your squad, and picked up by that pro team. You can just see taking the rest there, just freewheeling on the way down, looking to get that heart rate down as the riders start to drop. 0 watts, heart rate 178, 176 and dropping. But you've got to kick again because this is the penultimate rise on the run into this checkpoint.
But his heart rate has just dropped 12 beats for that micro rest. Absolutely
part and parcel of the tactical back pocket. You pull it out of the toolbox, exactly what you need.
Great job done by him. Fantastic job done by Lionel Ďasin on the very first stage.
Cheio de ligaduras e apesar daquela que teve no início da semana, ali a aguentar-se no grupo. Dos atletas mais experientes em termos de indoor cycling há muitos anos no Zwift. Já participou por imensas vezes na Zwift, nas finais da Zwift Academy, nas finais da Zwift Games.
For a long time, it won't mind me saying, but he is absolutely one of the riders you cannot take your
ano
eyes
passado
off.
foi vice-campeão
It's the 2023 World Champion Bjorn Andresen, who is absolutely on the front here. He too is a rider on form. I've been watching him the last few weeks, and he really is one to watch today. He could be seriously dangerous. He's taken the rainbow bands before. Jason Osborne took them off him last year. Could Bjorn Andresen be wanting to take them back this year? The polka dot banner is coming. That's climb 1, and Osborne's going to go through to pick up the points. Andresen and Fryatt are the 4 riders through over the top. Oh, Neil Fryatt, what a star. But Osborne picks up 40, Skierski picks up 38, Fryatt picks up 36, Andresen picks up 34. Fryatt's a star, whilst Bormann's maybe the youngest rider in the race. Fryatt, I know Neil won't mind me saying, is the youngest.
Parece-me que o Jason Osborne vai à vida dele.
With age comes great wisdom, stroke tactical nous, stroke just the ability to dig deep. I have to say, really interesting to see this move. You saw Andresen go on the front there, looking to push over the top. Osborne instantly answered. You saw him come up on the wheels to answer the attack. He then saw the opportunity for points, went over the top. Skierski can see 2 of the big danger riders on the front here, and very quickly goes into position. You can just see at the moment, everybody else now is having to answer. Ďasin having to lean down on those bars. takes up arm. You can see him there just supporting that body weight with his forearms there, just taking the weight off the damaged section. He's got to hold his still in poor position on the road at the moment, behind this leading trio of riders who've got 2 seconds on the rest of that race field. Yeah. This is really key.
Well, it is key, and the rest of the group now need to close the gap because this is really dangerous. You've got Andreasen, Osborne and 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗄, 2 previous world champions, both battling for the 2025 title, and the young contender in Paweł 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗄, a medical student from Poland who has really taken cycling esports to heart this year after being very much focused on mountain biking. Niall Pedersen, another young rider from Norway, well, with 400 metres to go, he's gone up and over the top. Brave move. Fortune favours the brave, and Pedersen being brave at the moment here. He's going for sprint number 2, and he's coming up at the 8-kilometre marker. They're very, very nearly there, just 300 metres to go, and Pedersen is the rider, absolutely dialing this. They're not chasing from behind. Oh, what a drive to the line from Pedersen. He's got less than he's got 100 metres to go. 𝗚𝗚𝗧𝗏, Osborne, Andreasen, Boormans, Jones now unleashing behind.
So this is going to be the run here to take away maximum points. It's going to be 40 points in the bag for Niall Pedersen. Pedersen came into that sprint at 8th place. He's going to take away the points from that. That will propel him up through the standings. Osborne did have a lead substantially, but that gap is starting to and it may well in fact have changed, because I'm just seeing an update that actually has Osborne deposed from the top of the series standings. I'm waiting to see if that updates and if that is correct, but that's a big change.
Well, on that checkpoint, Pedersen took 40, 𝗚𝗏𝗧𝗏 took 38, Don, 𝗚𝗚𝗏, 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗄, Jones, Boormans, Osborne in 8th place, and it does indeed mean that Paweł 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗄 now goes into the top spot overall with 312 points to Osborne's 309, 𝗚𝗚𝗏's 291.
Indeed, a big change, big shake-up. So what was going to be a nailed-on World Championship for many people for Osborne, well, it's been shaken apart. 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗄 now leading the point standings from Osborne. Leonard 𝗚𝗚𝗏, who we saw do that great ride up there. Michał Kamiński currently in 4th place. Now that is a rider who you said, Emma, plenty of times on the Sunday Race Club, is coming into form as we see Jason Osborne on the attack on this climb. 9 watts per kilo he went off the front at. Can we see Kamiński, can we see 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗄 work together? Can they keep hold of Osborne? Osborne looking to take back those points that he's just lost to 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗄.
Well, I think the key move here is who responds behind Osborne, not that Osborne goes.
Yep.
If Osborne goes clear at the top of the climb number 2 and at the finish line, it's just a 2-point gap back to the next rider. Who the next rider is the critical part here. Not necessarily that Jason Osborne has gone clear, but what else could Jason Osborne do? We know he's a great climber. And we know he really wants this title for 2025. In which case, he just has to unleash the Jason Osborne we know. It's a climb, it's heading upwards, and Jason Osborne is on the move.
He certainly is, but I would never discount Jason Osborne's kick for the finish line. He might not be the most explosive rider, and I know that the team can talk it later. We've got a world champion down at the analyst desk, but there's different ways of kicking, there's different ways of putting the power down, of accelerating away. Jason Osborne, whilst he might not have the biggest snap, he's still got enough power. He can run like a kilo rider. He can just go to the front and just ride riders off his wheel if he wants to, because he's got that power. Almost Chris Hoy-esque in the way he could ride a sprint. Osborne at the moment on the climb, though, at the moment clear of 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗄, who is moving into position here, looking to minimise his points loss. The gap between 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗄 and Osborne at the moment is 3 points. 2 points is the difference between each place, but can 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗄 keep the rest of this race field off his heels? He split the group apart. You can see that on the screen. It's dot to dot on the radar view at the moment as the big kick now comes from Kamiński. So Kamiński, the rider who's looking to go over the top here, and Kamiński will be taking points from 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗄. Will put 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗄 right up there, but Osborne is looking like he's going to take this back. And at the moment, the 2 Polish riders need to think about how they play this out. What do they want to get out of this race? Who do they want to put in a position to take away the medal? Osborne goes through. He takes maximum points behind Michał Kamiński. You can see he's already cruising through. He knows that he's got that 2nd place secured. 𝗗𝗧𝗢𝗡𝗧𝗍 takes away third place. I think at the line they were going to get confirmation of that, because this is going to come down to each and every point on the run through.
Well, on climb, checkpoint number 2, it's Osborne in 1, Kaminski in 2, 𝗏𝗚𝗓𝗓 in 3, 𝗏𝗏𝗓𝗏 in 4, 𝗗𝗧𝗢𝗡𝗧𝗍 in 5. That is going to shake things up. Andreasen in 6th, Van Elst in 7, and Pedersen in 8th. There's then a gap back to the group containing Turek, Don, Bormans, and Jones.
So that has changed the points totals from that checkpoint, because Jason Osborne has gone back into the race lead. Jason Osborne now 349 points. 5 points clear of Pavel 𝗗𝗧𝗢𝗡𝗧𝗏, who paid the price of having too many riders between him and Osborne. 𝗗𝗧𝗢𝗡𝗧𝗏 in 2. 344 points. Leonard Tugels moving into third place, 327 points. He's only 5 points clear of Mikkel Kaminski, 322. And then in 5th place is Niall Pedersen, but Pedersen has been distanced from the lead, only in 8th place on the road. Big gaps opening up behind our race leaders, being led at the moment by Jason Osborne with a gap.
Well, with 1 kilometre to go on stage 2 of the 2025 UCI eSports World Championships, Jason Osborne is 10 seconds clear of the group behind. It contains Kaminski, Andreasen, víðjæsen, Tugels, Van Elst, 𝗗𝗓𝗢𝗡𝗧𝗏. They are all in that group. They are then 12 seconds clear of the further chase group on the world. But Jason Osborne is doing his thing right now with around 700 metres to go.
And it's all about the points. It's not about the time gaps now. He's clear. He's on the run to the finish. This is going to be about thinking now and being smart for stage 3 for all of our riders. They've got to work out how far the riders are behind. Will they get caught? Could they lose potential points by being inattentive? Can they sit up and rest? Can they push all the way? This last little kicker to the line, it can take some time to get there, because it's a nasty little climb here. It may only be 250 metres, but it's a critical 250 metres. You can lose a lot of time. You get this pacing wrong. Osborne, though, looks clear.
Yeah, Osborne is clear, and I think the critical element is for the group behind and who picks up most of the points. Osborne goes with 100 metres to go, but the battle for points, well, that's really the chase group.
So here we go, the defending world champion who opened a lead on stage 1, saw it disappear, wiped away in the early stages of stage 2, takes away the final checkpoint points, the maximum score at the end of stage number 2. He's extended his lead at the top. After it being diminished, it's going to be 389 points for Jason Osborne behind. This is the sprint in and through the line. It's Osborne in 1, Kaminski in 2, Tugels coming through with Andreasen and 𝗗𝗧𝗢𝗡𝗧𝗏. 𝗗𝗧𝗢𝗡𝗧𝗏 losing ground again on the way through. He's going to have to wait until they come in. Ruben Donk, one of the Belgian squad, coming in through. Donk, a great punchy rider. He punches the area delight, in fact, as he goes in over the line. He's got a real, this is the puncher's playground. Donk is a definite puncher. Daniel Turek comes through after the early moves, looking to go off the front. And Neil Frey, a phenomenal ride. He's going to be sitting, I think, just inside the top 10 in point scores. We'll have to wait and see as all those scores come. What a ride. Well, the world champion from 2024 and from
lap finish, and for lap 8 it's double points.
Discussion here, lots of
on Andreasen.
The line each and every.
On lap 3, I'd go for a long-range breakaway. And it is possible Osborne could well ride clear of the group, and that's what the group will be watching. The eyeballs will be on his wheel. But I think there are riders a little bit further down that top 10 that other eyes will be on. Ollie Jones is probably the best sprinter, along with Neil Frey in the pack. Andreasen's got a lovely kick. Kaminski, well, I tell you something, that is a rider on form at the moment. Tugels, 𝗗𝗧𝗢𝗡𝗧𝗏. It is going to be a great stage 3.
And Ковинский coming to form at just the right time. He really has peaked. We saw him take a dip through the summer and then building through into the autumn, in towards the winter, really starting to get his timing to perfection, building up the power, getting those results, going further up standings in the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's time to see what they can do though on the final stage of the 2025 UCI Cycling eSports World Championships. Stage 3 is underway. 8 laps, a sprint at the line each and every lap. And remember, of course, when you get to the last lap, it's double points, which was so critical as they came into the finish. So where you finish,
8 sprints pontuáveis, cada dá 20, 19, 18, por aí fora, os grandes pontos, e depois o último da vitória dá, salvo erro, 40 pontos.
And 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗧𝗢, interestingly, gone on the front at the moment, straight out of the pen, 200 metres into the race, but now the rest of the pack are all coming up and they're heading wide across the road. Bjorn Andreasen, one of Yasin, paying very close attention. So is Gledness, Harvard Gledness, the rider from Norway. You need to watch him here. He was brilliant in this stage, in the semi-finals. It was what got him onto the stage in Abu Dhabi. He worked his way up the field as each sprint unfolded and, well, ended up on a plane ride to Abu Dhabi. Now, he is going to be one to watch because he's got a phenomenal sprint. Casper Bormann's interesting move off the front, driving hard at the 600-metre mark here. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 now closing down and coming onto his wheel. Power is there as well as Vanhee, Dont, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Osborne. They're bringing the field right back into contention. They've still got some way to sprint number 1.
And each and every position is going to be key. Each and every point is going to be key. And where the riders pull points away from you, in between maybe you and your riders, your nearest rivals, that is going to be critical. This run for the line is lap 1. This is the run down the hillside. We take a long right-hand bend here. We come into the left-hand turn, and then it lines out. You can see in front of you the race unfolding. Will we see somebody like Hayden potentially starting to work for riot here with the view of putting him right up in the front? This is the first sprint unfolding. This is Andreasen together at the front of the race, but there's a massive move coming in over the top here.
Ronnie Jones has gone at 12 watts per kilo, so it's Bjorn Andreasen. Jason Osborne coming into the mix as well, and so was Ruben Dont, but question who got that because they were straight across the line. There were so many wheels in that throw for sprint number 1. It was Neil Friat from Jason Osborne, Ruben Dont, Harvard Gledness, Mikkel Kovинский, Casper Bormans, Niall Pedersen, Leonard Tugels, Josh Harris and Jasper Paradis in the top 10.
Josh Harris,
so they were the top 10 on sprint number 1. Those are the riders scoring the most points, with Gledness taking away a phenomenal haul for him. But the key thing is all about what can you do when you are leading this, and that's Jason Osborne's challenge. He's got to keep himself in the right place at the right time. He's doing that so far. He's holding position. His gap, it's there. It's currently sitting at, well, it's 16 points. It's not huge, but if you can minimise any loss to riders like 𝗗𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, Kovинский, that's going to be critical. Kovинский, though, in 3rd place.
Tied on points with Tugels.
Yes, Tugels and Kovинский, 376 points, 386 points for 𝗗𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, and 408 for Osborne.
Well, Jason Osborne is now at the 2.4-kilometre marker, 600 metres out from the sprint on lap number 2. And this is Jason Osborne dancing on the pedals and riding away from the group. Ruben Dont trying to close them down, but the group now, well, if they can't catch Osborne, they're going to start watching each other instead. And Dont, Pedersen, 𝗗𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 are the riders in the group. The pace has come off. They are letting Jason Osborne go.
What are they doing? They need to be on the wheels. You need to be closing this down. There's clear air between Osborne. He's going to get maximum points here. He's going to go through, and yeah, okay, it's only a few points to the riders behind, but each and every rider scrapping behind. There's no guarantee for them. Osborne makes it a certainty. He goes in over the line behind. The front fight unfolds, and at the moment it looks like as they came in over the line after Osborne took away the win. We saw a Belgian rider come over that line in 2nd place with Leonard Tugels, Gledness followed by Van Els, then Kovинский, Jones at the moment struggling to put that solo sprint he's got into effect.
Well, I'll tell you something, this is absolutely becoming a right battle behind at the moment, because whilst Jason Osborne has gone off out of the front of the group for that second lap. He's come back into the group this time, and now 𝗂𝗧𝗏 Bormans tries the same move. 𝗏𝗚𝗏𝗧𝗏, 𝗏𝗧𝗏 and Kaminski are separated by 3 points at the moment behind. 𝗏𝗚𝗏𝗏's currently in the silver medal, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 in bronze, Kaminski in 4th place. But as I said, 3 points at the moment separating those 3 riders. Andreasen, Pedersen, 𝗏𝗏, Van Elst, Jones, Bormans and 𝗏𝗏𝗏 all in there as well.
And the points are between them. It's 5 points, but there's nothing in there. 𝗏𝗚𝗏𝗏 and 𝗏𝗏𝗏 tied at the moment. The battle, though, is going to evolve once again behind Jason Osborne as Bjorn Andresen and Casper Bormans comes up. Bormans bronze medalist last year. Andresen already been world champion. If this could form as a breakaway, they would hoover up the points. It would change the makeup at the front with Andresen able to get some serious points in the bank. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is responding to this behind, currently in 4th place and really digging deep to come across. Kaminski's on his wheel as well. The 2 Polish riders ahead of Harvard Gednes in that pursuit. But this is going to come down to Osborne. How much does he want it? How much does he want this win? Where is he prepared to work? And the answer is he's prepared to give it everything.
Well, this is lap 3 of 8, and Jason Osborne is pushing on to the finish line. The sprint line at the moment is about 60-70 metres up the road. There it is. Boom goes Jason Osborne straight over the top 440 points. Bjorn Andresen, 𝗂𝗧𝗏 Bormans, that drive, that push, put them in clear air to the rest of the group, and from the rest of the group, Kaminski is the rider who picks up the points.
So Osborne, Andresen, Pedersen with Kaminski, Bormans, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Van Elst, the riders at the front going over the line that time, and you see on the screens what it does to the points competition. Jason Osborne leading 448 points. Kaminski now 2 points clear of 𝗏𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏, 409 versus 407. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 now 399 points, yet to break that 400-point marker. And Bjorn Andresen and Niall Pedersen both scoring really well behind, moving up through. Casper Bormans adding to his points total as Lionel 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, I think, really feeling the effects, trying to sprint with that damage after the crash. Very, very difficult indeed as we see a push on the front, and this time, well, it's the master tactician himself, Lionel 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, who took the silver medal last year. He's on the move.
He is indeed. He's on the move, and he's pushing strongly on lap 4 at the 5.2 kilometre marker, around 750 metres away from the sprint line. And look at that, Jason Osborne is sprinting onto 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's wheel. Kaminski is the rider who's paying attention and wanting to come across, and so is Power. They are still some way off, and Osborne has just put in a massive dig to close the gap down to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has lit the fire on lap 4, and Osborne has responded. The question is this a strategic move from 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 to take the sting out of Osborne's legs and set it up for one of the other riders? Who knows? But Jason Osborne, he responded. He's gone up and over the top. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, however, is on his wheel.
So this is now about that run down to the line. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 puts in another big dig here. He's going to try now drag strip, but Jason Osborne is looking to hoover up the points here. He's going to take away points potentially from those riders behind to chase the positions, because 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is still not inside the top 5 riders, but it will change the mix-up behind depending on who comes over the line behind Jason Osborne. So lap 4 complete as they come through. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 from Osborne, from Pedersen, from 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, Don, Kaminski and Bormans, and the overall points now, well, Jason Osborne, he's extending that gap.
He is indeed, and the gaps further down in the top 10 are starting to close as well. The last few laps of this race are going to be so important in terms of who takes away the 2025 Cycling eSports World Championships. Osborne and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 side by side on your screen. They're 5 seconds clear of Bormans, Dont, Pedersen, Harris, Van Elst, Kaminski, Andresen and Jones. It's a huge group, and right now, if I was contending for those medals, I wouldn't want to be in it. I would want that group to be small.
You want to break that group down. The problem is that everybody wants those points, whether you're fighting for 7th and 8th position, 2nd and 3rd position, whether you're in the hunt for the medal. But Jason and Osborne at the moment continuing to push at the front of this race field. Behind, everybody wants to get back into position, but 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Osborne with the gap to Jones, to Kaminski, to Don of about 8 seconds seconds at the moment. He's yo-yoing up and down. And the American team
Primeira vez que eu vi o Jason Osborne correr
want to push the rider, their best place
foi
rider
numa
is
corrida
Neil Fryatt, the
da
leaders. Osborne and
Racing
Justin on the way in through, and the squad really working hard with Hayden Pucker on the move, but he has got so much work to do. He wants to be up to help Fryatt with Justin and Osborne on the way to the line.
They are indeed, and this is lap 5 of 8, and 𝗭𝗏𝗧𝗢 is going to try and take the points off of Jason Osborne. I'm not sure Jason Osborne is that bothered, but he is. He comes over and takes the points available, all 20 of them. 𝗭𝗏𝗧𝗢 will take 18 this time.
Foi a primeira vez que o Jason Osborne se mostrou ao mundo.
So the riders coming in through with Osborne, with 𝗭𝗏𝗧𝗢, with Jones and Kaminsky coming through behind. So Ollie Jones using that sprint to good effect, but it may be too little too late here as Osborne has got the gap. Kaminsky in second place, and 𝗭𝗧𝗪 is losing points here because Lionel 𝗭𝗏𝗧𝗢 is hoovering up the points at the moment. The gap is not coming down, and it means that those points gaps that are there are still being set. The gaps at the moment: Osborne 487 points, Mikhail Kaminsky 441 points, Leonard 𝗭𝗪𝗓 426, with Pavel Skirsky 403. Only the top 4 riders have broken that 400-point marker. Osborne 487. He's now 46 points clear at the top of the standings. We are on lap 6. At the moment, there are 80 points left if you were to take all of the points on the way back.
Yeah, it is indeed. As we continue to see Pavel Skirsky now in absolute trouble. He's 19th through that sprint checkpoint. He is off the back of the group. That is one rider in trouble. But what a performance so far today. Jason Osborne, Lionel 𝗭𝗏𝗧𝗢 off the front of the pack. Ollie Jones, Bjorn Andreas, Mikhail Kaminsky, Casper Bormans, Niall Pedersen, Leonard 𝗭𝗪𝗓, Stefan Van Elst, Josh Harris, Dan Turek, all in the chase group, all chasing points at the moment. They're all chasing Jason Osborne as he comes towards the UCI banner for what is the 6th time. So Osborne and 𝗭𝗏𝗧𝗢 side by side yet again on lap 6, and it's 𝗭𝗏𝗧𝗢 who's going to pick up the points this time. Osborne's not even going to try to pick up the 20 points, so Lionel 𝗭𝗏𝗧𝗢 comes through for 20 points. Jason Osborne takes 19. The battle is on behind now, and take a look at that. It's Fryatt who's going to come through. Oh, no, it's not, because I think Kaminsky's going to roll him on the line. That was so close for those points, and it was indeed Mikhail Kaminsky who took 18 points. Casper Bormans, Ollie Jones, Bjorn Andreas, and Leonard 𝗭𝗪𝗓, Van Elst, Turek, Pedersen all rolled Fryatt on the line.
So we've only got 2 more laps to go, 2 more point scoring opportunities, lap 7 and lap 8, double points on lap 8. If you took away maximum points, you'd take away 60, but surely nobody can now touch Jason Osborne on the front. He's 47 points clear of Mikhail Kaminsky. He's clear of Leonard 𝗭𝗪𝗓 by some 66 points. The medals are starting to look like they are almost there. They've not quite gone to the engravers, but they've got the names penciled in beside them, because it's Osborne, Kaminsky and 𝗭𝗪𝗓 at the moment in the driving seat, and the real fight now is about Kaminsky versus 𝗭𝗪𝗓. Kaminsky sprinting absolutely out of his skin time and time again to take away the points in those sprints from 𝗭𝗪𝗓 to keep that gap in front. The rider from Poland looking to stay clear. Jason Osborne, Lionel 𝗭𝗏𝗧𝗢 on the front of the race on the way round. They are actually going to start lapping riders now. I think Thomas Thrall going to see them come past him for a lap on this circuit. Such is the pace of our leading riders here. Jason Osborne, Lionel 𝗭𝗏𝗧𝗢 on the penultimate lap, the penultimate checkpoint coming up for them. This is the run to the line for what will be 1 more lap to go. There is 1 more lap to go in the UCI 2025 Cycling eSport World Championships in the men's race. And with 1 lap to go, Jason Osborne seals what must be now a championship win if you go and take it to the line. At the moment he's looking good and he's got the company, the master rider Lionel Vujasin for company.
Well, first rule of cycling, you must get the bike over the finish line to win anything, and that's now what Jason Osborne's got to do. The big sprint is on behind because they are battling it out for the medals, and wow, I think that could have been Kaminski yet again. He has got his timing to perfection, master of the sprint timing at the moment. Mikhail Kaminski, Ollie Jones from New Zealand picking up 17 points. Ruben Dodd doing what Dodd does. Harris still in the mix as well. Casper Palmer's putting on a great showing at the young wildcard rider who took third last year. One more lap to go. It's Osborne from Kaminski, 𝗭𝗨𝗦𝗧𝗢, Pedersen and Andreasen, the top five at the moment.
And we know that Jason Osborne will want to take away this final run for the line. He'll want to finish off this championships with a win in that final sprint. You can see Vujasin at the moment really opening this up at 8.5 watts per kilo. Vujasin has climbed his way right the way through the top 10, just hovering outside the top 5 at the moment. However, Jason Osborne will want to take the win. He'll want to take that final victory. He'll want to show just why he is the world champion. He was flying on stage 1 where he really laid the foundation. He had really got put under pressure in stage number 2, but come stage 3, come the climbs on stage 2, the sprints on stage 3, Jason Osborne has shown just how good he is.
Yeah, he has, and Osborne now going to the 4 with Vujasin on his wheel. Vujasin doing sterling work at the moment. They've got 200 metres to go. That is the UCI banner. Jason Osborne is going to pick up double points unless Vujasin can do anything about it. He's going to give it a run. You can't fault Vujasin for trying because Vujasin comes over the top of Jason Osborne. Vujasin is going to pick up 40 points on stage 3. But Jason Osborne is going to take away the World Championship title in cycling esports for 2025, defending his title in style. Well, the race is on behind the Dan 𝗭𝗏 from Pedersen, Andreasen, Don and Fryer. The big push for the double points on the final lap. It's going to shake up the leaderboard and shake it up it may well do. We're keeping our eyes peeled at the moment, but Vujasin from Osborne, from 𝗭𝗏, Andreasen, Pedersen, Fryer and Bormans was the stage.
That was the stage. You can see the delight of Mikhail Kaminski as Lionel Vujasin congratulates the man who defended his title in style. Jason Osborne turning those legs around. Now Osborne gets off the bike. He can celebrate taking the win, taking the championship title. You can see Dan just coming around to congratulate Jason Osborne. Mikhail Kaminski coming through, taking second place ahead of the battle behind him. Leonard Childs will take away third place, take away a bronze medal. Hayden Bunker getting the congratulations there. A fantastic race. All of the riders showed just what it means to ride and to race on MyWhoosh. Well, it's no fee, no fuss, just race, and race they certainly have done today.
React a vídeo que eu acho muito interessante do meu amigo Alan Ricardo, do canal Competição Interna. Ele tem um vídeo que fala sobre durabilidade do ciclista e a importância da durabilidade. E eu gostava de fazer um react a esse vídeo porque algumas coisas que eu queria complementar no vídeo dele e outras que quero simplesmente mostrar-vos porque acho que é um vídeo muito interessante. Obrigado a todos que estiveram a assistir. Fiquem bem. Até amanhã. Amanhã, 9h45, categoria 3 da Sunday Race Club no MyWhoosh. Vamos ver como estão as pernas, ver se consigo aguentar o grupo até ao fim e no final fazer um sprint melhor do que das últimas vezes. Fiquem bem. Até à próxima.